Afternoon, everyone. My name is Karina Bruce. I am one of the staff members here at Center College on the admissions team. I'm so excited to welcome you guys here to our Center Spotlight series. It's the first of 4 that we have coming up, so we'll have 3 more after this one. For today, though, we are going to have a quick admissions presentation by lovely Annie Murphy. And then we're also going to have a student panel for some of our current students that we have here today with us. But we're so excited to have you guys here. Please note that you will not be able to unmute yourself or turn on the video, but you will be able to if you need to pin anyone. So we do have an interpreter with us today. So if you want to pin her, you are more than welcome to do that on your screen. You'll just go to the 3 dots that you see by her name, and you can just pin her to your screen and you'll be able to see her throughout the duration of the program. We hope to only be about an hour long because we know it's a Saturday and we know that you guys want to get started with any kind of weekend plans that you have. But thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to turn it over to our Associate Dean and Director of Admission, Pam Boffman.
Great, thank you, Karina. Can we make sure that Jennifer Paycheck's video is on?
Yes,
He's all set.
Okay, good. There we go. Great. Okay, well, welcome to a virtual afternoon with Center College. My name is Pam Boffman, and I'm the Associate Dean and Director of Admission, and we are so pleased to begin the college process with you. First off, thank you for your patience. We know colleges have been really focused on helping seniors recently, but now it's your turn. And there is so much excitement and enthusiasm as we turn our attention to you. There's also a lot of excitement on our campus now, and I would love to share some developments that are giving us so much to celebrate and to look forward to in the coming months. As mentioned, seniors have been finalizing their college choices, and I am pleased to share with you that Center will be enrolling our 3rd largest class in Center's history. The incoming class of 2025 is one of our most academically accomplished and most diverse classes in our history, and this bodes really well for future students who desire to surround themselves with really interesting, bright, and talented students. We will have almost 400 new faces from 34 states and territories and 9 countries joining us in the fall to add to our dynamic student body. Speaking of new faces, we welcomed President Milton Moreland last July as the 21st president of Center College, and he has been courageously and successfully leading our campus through the pandemic in this academic year, while also spearheading a number of new endeavors. His impact is already being felt in concrete and measurable ways, adding to the vibrancy and the progress of Center. So speaking of concrete, let's talk about construction. We have recently completed a $3 million expansion and renovation of Olin Hall to create the Knowlton Center for Science and Mathematics. This space will offer renovated and extra classrooms, state-of-the-art labs, and collaborative spaces devoted to STEM fields, and it is currently in use by our faculty and students. We have also just announced our most comprehensive construction project, a $50 million facility dedicated to wellness and athletic excellence that will benefit the entire Center community. The Initiative for Wellness and Athletic Excellence, also known as the IWAY, will include a new aquatic center, an indoor track facility, strength and performance center, a hospitality area, nutrition center, multi-purpose space for activities and campus events. Our football stadium will undergo a transformation, as will our baseball field, and work will begin this fall with an 18-month completion target. Other campus building initiatives will include renovation of 3 residence halls and a new college greenhouse. So in addition to these developments, we have also launched a handful of academic and programmatic endeavors. Last summer, Center introduced CenterWorks, a creative environment for entrepreneurs, social, civic, and community leaders to learn, collaborate, and innovate with a shared goal of helping students develop an innovative mindset and a human-centered approach. And in December, Center announced the addition of a business major to build on our liberal arts tradition. And this program, along with our very strong general education core, will uniquely prepare students to tackle the pressing global challenges that we are all facing now. This spring, we opened the Learning Commons, a central location housing our academic support resources. Having a dedicated and easily accessible space on campus will allow us to expand and synchronize a vast array of resources to foster academic success for all students. I'm not going to lie, we added an Einstein bagel shop in this facility with the expectation that the pleasing aroma of coffee and bagels will lead students to tutoring, the writing center, ESL services, workshops, and more. I also want you to know that we intend and we are planning to be fully in person this fall in community together, enjoying all of the benefits of a residential experience. About 75% of our students have been vaccinated. And while connecting virtually is a really great start, there will be plenty of opportunities to welcome you and your family to campus for a college visit. I hope I have been able to convey the momentum that we are feeling at Center. There's a lot of really exceptional work being done to propel us forward, and we're really excited for you to gain a better sense of our progress and the positive energy as you consider what it could mean for you to be a Center student. And now I'm going to turn it over to Annie, my wonderful colleague who will continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. And before we get started with Annie, I just wanted to share a quick video from our president, Dr. Milton Moreland, who wasn't able to be with us today, but he did make a video for you all. And so I hope that you guys enjoy it.
Spotlight. We are so happy to begin to process of getting to know you and you getting to know us. This is a great moment at Center College. We have so much going on. We have incredible academic programs. We have new buildings going up in our athletics and wellness initiatives. And we've got a lot of interesting people we want you to meet in the coming months. We also hope that you can come to campus and meet us in person. So as that is possible for you in the fall, please come and see us. We know you're looking at being an excellent student at a great college, and we think we have a whole lot to offer. So welcome to this program. We are excited to start journey together. We are so happy that you are interested in Center College, and we look forward to getting to know you better in the coming months.
Okay, and now I am going to hand it off to my lovely colleague, Annie Murphy.
All right. Hi, everybody. So nice to see you today. We're really, really excited that you've joined us. So thank you. It is my pleasure next to take us through an overview of Center College. So I'm going to throw some facts and figures at you, some really important contextual information, and I will go ahead and share my screen and get started. All right, so here we have almost everything you need to know about Center College. So a good place to get started is with the size of the school. Center's just over 1,400 students. We love this size. It's a sweet spot for us. We are large enough that we offer all the exciting things that anybody would want in their college experience, but we're small enough that we have housing for all of our students. We maintain really small class sizes, and we're able to be really personalized. We are located in Danville, Kentucky. If you have not yet had a chance to come visit us, we would love to see you on campus. You could come see Danville as well. Danville has been named the most beautiful small city in Kentucky. We are right adjacent to historic downtown, so students have the benefit of having this lovely, beautiful green campus, but just a short walk away from local coffee shops, businesses, restaurants, all of those really great things. A little bit more about the students at Center. So we love having students from all over. We have students from all over the United States, all over the world. We have students from 10 different countries welcoming us, actually in the class that's joining us for the class of 2025. We're excited about that. Another important statistic, this notion that 98% of our students live on campus. To me, that's a really reflective statistic about what that says about Center. This is the kind of place that if you join us at Center, yes, your academic experience will be at Center, but you will live here. You will have easy access to activities, clubs, a great social life. We love that feeling of feeling close connected as a residential campus. Another thing that I love about Center is the fact that we have, we're all about relationships. If you are a Center student, you will know your professors, they will know you, they will be excited to celebrate your achievements, they will be excited to challenge you and push you, introduce you to new opportunities. We have been ranked one of the most accessible faculty in the country, and I know from my experience with faculty members that that is 100% true. It's impossible to find a Center student who does not have a favorite and beloved professor. A little bit more about the academic experience. If you are a Center student, you are guaranteed to have really small classes. Average size is 18 students. The biggest you'd ever have is 30. Center is not the kind of place with really large lecture halls where you can kind of get, stuck in the back row. It is a place where you can expect an engaged classroom experience full of discussion, participation. You'll get to know your peers really well, and of course, get to know your professors. Here's a look at majors and minors. The Center has over 40 different programs. We've got a variety of different majors and minors. Students at Center, it's really nice that you don't have to declare your major until the end of your second year on campus. So we're all about students coming in. Many students have an idea about their strengths, their primary interests. You can get started on those, of course, right away, but you also get the freedom to explore other things. That's the notion of a liberal arts experience, that the word liberal coming from that word free or freedom. There's a lot of freedom to explore within our curriculum. In addition to majors and minors, we also have some fantastic pre-professional programs, some graduate degree partnerships. We believe in really personalized advising, helping young people figure out, hey, what is the next best step for me? What are my strengths? What are my interests? And how do those align with a major? And then how does that kind of propel me into the world of work? We do a really good job of helping students figure out those big questions. So outside of the academic experience, what could you expect? Center students are involved. They all tend to find at least one kind of major area of interest, oftentimes more than one. When you get to meet our students later on in this presentation, you'll get to know some of the wonderful things that they are all involved in. Here's a sampling of what some students are interested in. Many students involved in the arts. 42% of our students are engaged in varsity intercollegiate athletics. We are an NCAA Division III school. 85% of our students engaged in community service. To me, this is a really reflective statistic. Thinking about, what does a college campus where 85% of students, what does that say about that place? Well, to me, it says that Center students are the kind of people who are looking out for each other. They're looking out for their community, and that is something that we all have in common. Another thing we tend to share in common is an excitement and an interest in the world. Study abroad is a huge feature of Center College. Depending on which rankings guide you look at, we're usually 1, 2, or 3 in the country for our study abroad programs. 85% of students will spend some time studying in another country. Many students will spend more than one term studying in another country. That is what we love here at Center. That notion that your education should really expand you. It should give you opportunities to engage, to explore, to get connected to other cultures, other languages potentially. That is why we value study abroad so much. And that is also why we make it easy to do, regardless of your major. You can study abroad, and we also make it very affordable for you to do so. So here is some statistics that, oh, I'm sorry, missed a slide there. Here we go. Going along with that notion of study abroad, the idea of impact, the idea of having a college experience where it's really going to be multidimensional. This, we back up this commitment with what we call the Center commitment. This is our promise to students. If you come to Center, if you're just kind of a typical Center student, you're going to have an atypical experience because you're going to do so much while you're here. We guarantee that all students will have the opportunity to study abroad. We also guarantee that you will have an internship or you will do hands-on mentored research with a professor. You can see some of our students involved in research right here in this photo. And we guarantee you're going to do all of those impactful things in 4 years and graduate on time. So again, that is our promise to students. And that's really the norm of what you could expect here. So something else that you can expect here is that Center students, they tend to come here and they tend to really succeed. These are some statistics that really can back that up. So first year retention rate, what does that mean? That means that 91% of the students who come here for their first year, they stay for their second year. That is because they're happy here, they're being successful here, and they want to continue to have this experience. Our first year retention rate is one of the highest in the country, and we're excited about that. Also up there amongst the best colleges in the country is our 4-year graduation rate. 85% of students will graduate on time in 4 years. There's another accolade that we've received from a group called the Alumni Factor. They look at long-term satisfaction of graduates, and they say that we have the happiest alumni in the country. And I definitely would consider myself one of those happy alumni. And I think my colleagues, classmates would all say the same too. What part of that satisfaction and that happiness, I think, is the fact that Center students come, they have a really exciting 4-year experience, they get wonderful advising, they get matched up with the academic program that's the right fit for them, and then they go on to the next thing successfully. So 98% of students on average are in a job or in graduate school within 10 months of graduation. You can take a look at some of our sample employers, some sample graduate schools. Center students, they make an impact while they're here and get prepared to make that impact in their graduate program, in their profession. We always say that we are educating students, yes, for their first job, but really we're educating you for 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road throughout your career. All right, so let's talk about the nuts and bolts of the application process. I know we have many rising seniors and some rising juniors on this program today. So applying to Center, what does that look like? First off, Center College uses an application called the Common Application. If you haven't heard of the Common Application yet, we call it the Common App. That's kind of the nickname. It's an online application shared by over 900 colleges around the US. It's great because you get to submit one application, complete the information, and then send it to all the schools that you're interested in. So the Common Application is how you will apply, and there is no fee to apply as well. So then you have to choose which is the right application plan for you. Center offers 3 different choices. We don't care which one you choose. We just want you to choose the one that makes the most sense for your process. We do offer a binding application plan called Early Decision. Early Decision means that you have decided early that Center College is the place where you want to be. You'll submit your application by November 15th. As you consider early decision versus early action or regular decision, we encourage you to reach out to your admission counselor. Those of us on this call or this meeting today, myself included, we are admission counselors who are here to help counsel you, guide you through this process. So there's no need to have questions because we're here for those. You can also choose an early action plan. That means you are ready to submit your application by December 1st, or you can choose regular decision, which is January 15th. Again, we don't care which one you choose, and we'll help you find the right one for you. So after you apply, you're definitely going to be interested in what might the school cost me. So the comprehensive fee for Center College, just over $57,000 for this coming up year. That is a premium price tag. I understand that. We all appreciate that in our office. We also know from the work that we do that most center students are able to receive scholarships, financial aid, often a combination of those things in order to make the school much, much more affordable and within reach. So let's talk about those forms of funding. So first off, scholarships. This is a list of all of our scholarships. We have lots of scholarships. We are ready and excited to recognize talented students. We know that you've worked hard in high school, and we would love to hopefully recognize you with a scholarship. So how does it work? The first category, the general merit scholarships, you'll see those range from $29,000 to $7,500. All you have to do is apply for admission and you'll be automatically considered for those. We are going to do a really thorough look at your application. We're going to look at your credentials, your contributions, your recommendation, your essay, all of those great things in order to get a really three-dimensional view of who you are. I also meant to mention this earlier. You can apply to Center College with or without your test scores. We are a test optional school. We will be test optional for at least 3 years, maybe longer. We are, so if you like your test scores, you think they're a good reflection of who you are as a student, go ahead and send them. If you feel like there are other things that say more about your potential as a student, then you don't need to send us your scores. All right, so that's general merit scholarships. Then the column in the middle are special scholarships. These do require some sort of separate action on your part. They are there to recognize particular interests, particular talents. The language scholarship is for students who are excited to study language in college. It's a 4-course commitment to studying language. You don't need to major or minor in language, but if you're enthusiastic about studying it, you should apply for one of those. Performing arts scholarship, again, is you don't have to major or minor in a performing art in order to receive one of these. They are participation scholarships for students who are excited to participate in dramatic arts, music, vocal music, or instrumental music. Visual arts scholarships, those are available. Those are new this year. We're excited, and all media are included there. The New Horizons Scholarship, this is a program that is for students who are interested in issues related to diversity, inclusion, equity. This is an amazing program that comes with mentoring and connects you with other students who really share that passion. Honor Scholars are students who are strongly committed to community service and civic engagement. So again, all of those have slightly different applications or essays you might need to submit. You can find them all on our website. And then the final category, Premier Scholarships. Center is pretty unique in that we are able to offer 3 Premier Scholarship programs. Each of these programs recognizes 10 students per incoming class. So these are fantastic programs that go all the way from full tuition to full ride plus. So the Brown Fellows program, this is a program for students who are model scholars, those students who are really, really academically qualified, excited to make an impact in an area of scholarship. That is a full cost plus scholarship program. Grissom scholars are students who are first generation college students. These are students who are, Grissom scholars are high achieving first generation college students. It's a full tuition program that also comes with mentoring and stipends for summer study, stipends for additional opportunities. And Lincoln scholars are students who want to change the world. There is a separate application for the Brown program and the Lincoln program. In addition to scholarships, Center has a really, really fantastic financial aid program. We want all students who want to be at Center to be able to afford to come here if this is where they want to be. We require 2 forms, the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, as well as the Center aid form, which is a short supplemental form. These will allow us to consider you for additional forms of funding beyond scholarships. So things like federal grants, state grants, or grants that come directly from Center. All right, thank you all so much. It was wonderful speaking with you. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, Annie, so much. I loved seeing that and learning everything about Center. Next up, we have a really great student panel that I'm really excited to share with you guys. And one of my colleagues, Clay Taylor, is going to be moderating that. So I will hand it over to Clay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have some great students at this panel this afternoon. I'm excited for y'all to get to hear a little bit more about them and their center experience. So if our panelists can turn on their cameras, please. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Awesome. So they're the main reason for this panel, because you guys want to hear some firsthand experience for our students. So panelists, if you can go ahead and tell us your name, your hometown, your upcoming grade, which is odd to say because we're at the end of the term, and your major or intended major, and maybe some campus involvements that you're in. So we can start with McKenna.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm McKenna Hewlett. I'm a rising senior, haven't said that one yet. International studies major, politics minor. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Some things I do on campus, I play women's lacrosse. I'm a center ambassador involved in CCF, Grief Life, among other things. The list goes on. Pretty much always doing something.
Roxana.
Hi, I'm a rising sophomore. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and like McKenna said, I'm also involved in a crazy amount of stuff on campus, which I'll talk a little bit about later, but I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys.
Thank you so much. Phoenix.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Phoenix. I use the she series pronouns. I am a rising junior. I can't believe it either. And my major is Ant Soc with a minor in linguistics. And what else am I missing? I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm also involved in a whole bunch of things on campus, from center works that was briefly touched on in the presentation. I'm an RA on campus, along with involvement with Center Environmental Association and an organization called SPEAK, which stands for Students for Prevention, Education, and Advocacy within the community. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Cam.
My name's Cam Kiesel, rising junior. Still don't like that one. Originally from Louisville, Kentucky, involved in quite a number of things like everyone else on this panel, so I'm not special. But Greek life, center ambassadors, what else? Student mathematics club, a couple other things. Major in mathematics, as the club implies, and a minor in politics.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Renee.
Hi, everyone. My name's Renee, and I'm a rising sophomore from Rochester, New York, from upstate New York. And I'm intending on majoring in chemistry and also considering pre-law. And on campus, I'm involved in Greek Life, Center Ambassadors, the American Chemical Society, and Partners in Health.
And thank you all so much. We're excited to start diving into this. So let's start with our out-of-state folks. Renee and Phoenix, being from out of state, how did you learn about Center during your college search, and what sealed the deal for you? Renee, you can start if you'd like.
Sure. So when I was first looking at colleges, I wasn't sure whether I wanted a really big school or a small school. But as I visited schools of varying sizes, I realized that I wanted a smaller school because I knew that I want to go into science. And so I thought that it would be a more fulfilling experience to go to a small school where I have the opportunity to be closer with professors, and finding research was also a priority of mine. And so it would be easier to do that at a small school. Second, I was also looking for schools that provided merit aid because college is expensive, and I know that I want to earn more than an undergrad degree, and so I'd rather spend more money in a graduate program. And another thing that pulled me to Center is that I'm very excited to be in a new region of the country. Like I said, I'm from New York, and so it doesn't really bother me that I'm 9.5 hours away from home. I've made some really great friends here and had some good experiences, and it's really cool to be somewhere that's different than what I'm used to.
And I actually kind of stumbled upon Center. I didn't know, like, I didn't have a dream school. I didn't know where I was applying to. I didn't have any sort of idea about where I wanted to go. And so I talked to my advisor, and she was like, "Well, what do you want out of a school?" And I was like, "Well, I want to pursue research. I want to study abroad, and I want to just like be around people who are just very, I don't just like in their bag." And she said, look at Center, because somebody in my program in high school, they came to Center and they absolutely loved it. And so I said, okay, let's do a little Google. And I looked at Center online, and I was like, this is where I want to be. And then when I visited, I was like, and the campus is beautiful. Everybody that I'm passing by is saying hello. Is this where I'm gonna land? Like, I really thought that it was gonna be my place, and I'm very happy to be here and call this home. So that's how I landed on Center.
Awesome. We love hearing those stories, and we're so happy that you guys are here as well. I can't believe you guys are continuing to rise up the ranks. It's fun to see. So McKenna and Cam, I'm gonna guess that you guys were sought after through athletics. So Cam, I know you may have played football your first year at Center. So can you tell us a little bit about being recruited from a Division III school and how that looks like? McKenna, you can go first if you'd like.
Yeah, so I kind of started my search around the time that y'all are in school right now. And I didn't know whether I wanted to play lacrosse or not, but my coach encouraged me to kind of go on that journey. And so I was at a tournament, and Center coach reached out to me, and I was like, oh, okay, never heard of Danville before, but I guess I'll give it a shot. My grandmother's actually from Frankfort, Kentucky, so she was the one, when she found out, she was like, you have to tour. So I did it for her. And then we toured, and I fell in love with campus as soon as I stepped on it. I saw the campus itself, but I saw the way that the faculty interacted with the students, and like Phoenix said, how the students were just so engaged with like visitors and each other and walking to class. It really looked like a family. And so there was this running joke in my family that I didn't buy t-shirts from schools that I didn't want to go to, and I left Center wanting to go to the bookstore and buy a t-shirt. So my dad knew right away that Center was the one. But yeah, it's always a complicated process for finding schools, especially with athletics, because you have a lot of things to consider. And so when I left Center, I knew that I had to look at all my options, and I just kept comparing everything back to Center and like coming back to it. And so that's how I knew it was the one.
I can't really build on what McKenna said. I mean, when you are getting recruited by, different schools, going and visiting campuses and whatnot, you always find this one school that you compare everything else to. Same thing. I'm a little closer to center. Manual and center are pretty neck and neck. There's a lot of people on campus from Manual and Louisville. So there was a couple of the older guys that, were like, hey, Cam, like, you should come and take a visit. You should come see what it's all about. And after my visit, after my overnight, fell in love, went to other places, like, yeah, but like, it's not quite like center. I don't know if I should go there. It's not as pretty as center. It's not as smart as center. It's not, I don't want to hype up center, but it definitely, you'll start comparing other places to center instead of center to other places. So that's really all there is to it for it.
I love that connection, especially since you name dropped that there's a decent amount of Kentuckians on campus. So, Roxana, how did you end up coming to center, being from Kentucky? How was your college search?
Yeah, so from the beginning of my college search, I was like, no, I'm not looking at schools in Kentucky. It's not happening. I'm going to go as far away from Kentucky as possible. It didn't quite work out that way, but basically throughout my college search, I was like really focused on getting all my applications done in like November and October. And I like I said, didn't really look at state schools. And then in January, one of my friends was like, hey, like center is a really good school and it's like a really great option if you do want to end up in Kentucky and all this. I was like, okay, fine, I'll just apply and see what happens. So then I applied and I got in, and then the pandemic happened. I was like, okay, now I didn't visit any schools. I have no idea what I'm going into. But throughout the entire process, center was the only school who actually reached out to me personally. It was like, how are you doing? They like came to my house and left like little signs on my porch and all this. And I was just like, they're going so out of their way to make sure that I'm doing okay during the pandemic, which was something that no other college gave me. And it really just made me think about the personal experiences you have in college. For me, I didn't want to go to college and just be like, a student goes to class, goes home, studies, and does like nothing else. Like nobody really knows who they are. Like the professors may not even know their name. And so coming into center, I already like so many people knew my name, like all of the admission counselors knew my name, like knew my story. And I was like, oh my gosh, hi. And so many people would just say hi to me. And I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but hi. It was kind of like going into a family reunion where you like didn't know half the people, but they're like, I knew you since you were like a little girl. And so that homey feeling just really made me know for sure that center is the place I needed to be. And just the connections you have. And like we like to call postgraduate students like the center mafia, because you'll have so many connections. And I already felt that even before I came to center. So that was a little bit why I chose to go to center.
I love hearing those stories. I'm actually getting cold chills just listening to them, but I won't get too emotional on this call, I promise. But Renee and Roxana, you guys are first year students who have entered this year in a wild time, but you guys are pretty involved being a first year students. So can you highlight how some of those opportunities were presented to you and how you managed to balance being a student while also being involved in so many activities?
Sure, I can go first. So one of the first things that I noticed for presenting like extracurriculars was in September. I think it was September. There was a thing called Expo, and normally this is in person. And I've heard that it's a lot of clubs like give away like food and shirts and other gifts to get people to like sign up for their clubs. But it was online this year, but I didn't mind that because I was able to have more like one-on-one conversations with club members to sort of gauge my interest and see if those clubs would be something that I'm interested in. And so at Expo, I ended up signing up for maybe like 4 or 5 clubs. And I mentioned earlier that I'm a part of Greek Life. And so Greek Life was also at Expo, but throughout the fall, there were a bunch of different like recruitment events and like get to know you events. And so I ended up going to a lot of those, and those were nice. What I really enjoy about being in extracurriculars is that it's separate from class. So while as a first year, I'm typically in classes with mostly first years, what's nice about the clubs that I'm in and in Greek Life too is that I'm able to talk with upperclassmen and sort of get advice from them and other information that I might know. And so I've really enjoyed that. As for like balancing academics and extracurriculars, sometimes it is a bit overwhelming because I am involved in a lot. But at that point, like if I have too much homework and I can't make a meeting, like that's perfectly fine. Another thing that I appreciate about Center is how all of the classes end at 4. So like the school day ends at 4, which makes it great for having club meetings after, like in the evenings, because it won't interfere with actual class time. And so I've really come to appreciate that.
Yeah, I think Renee did a really good job covering the bases. During Expo, I also like signed up for so many clubs. I went way above my head on clubs that I signed up for. I was just like, oh, this one looks cool. Oh, this one looks cool. And I still get the emails for like 20 clubs that I signed up for. But some of the clubs I'm part of at centers, I'm part of Greek Life. I'm part of Center Christian Fellowship. I'm part of Center Ambassadors. I'm also part of the Center Investment Society and the after school program, which is like a tutoring program for like the Danville community, like usually lower and middle school students. So that's a great way to get volunteer hours. But like Renee mentioned, I found these clubs at Expo and just like fell in love with them and was really wanting to be a part of them. Another great thing about center clubs is that it's super easy to get leadership positions at clubs. So I'm like already like vice president of some of the clubs that I've been here as a freshman in college. So it's just, not only is it like really fun in a way to like de-stress after school, but it like really builds your resume and it builds your career for post-college. So I do highly recommend signing up for clubs. And as for balancing them with academics, you do have that gap between like school, like the school day ends at 4 technically, but my last class is at 1:40. So I'm done way before then. And I have like a little break to do all my homework. And then I do try to like take time out of my day to like relax. And that's when I'll go to like a club meeting. So it's definitely possible even when you're involved in a lot of things.
I love hearing you guys are already climbing up the leadership ladder. So Phoenix, you're balancing a lot yourself, and you also are in a ton of leadership positions on campus. Any advice to share on how to narrow down or even expand your passions, not only in the classroom, but in your campus involvements?
Yeah, I'm actually currently in the process of like narrowing down because I feel like it is good to kind of start broad and put your toe into everything and then kind of focus in on what makes your heart smile and what makes you happy. And so I would say in regards to narrowing down, really just like listen to yourself, know what you can take on, and don't be afraid to like say, no, I can't do this now or ask for help. I think that's definitely something. I mean, center students are all like spectacular and wonderful students, but I think sometimes it gets tough to say, like, I need a little help because we do have such high expectations of ourselves. But everybody needs a little help at some point, and everybody needs to take some stuff off of their plate, off of their load. And so it's okay to be honest with yourself and tell yourself, like, maybe I'll just do this one thing next year and like do wonderful in it rather than do a whole bunch of things and like do maybe to your expectations wonderful, but maybe also good. So yeah, I would just say, like, don't be afraid to join a whole bunch of clubs, not necessarily take leadership positions in them, but join a whole bunch of clubs, get your feet wet, see what kind of sticks, see where you like the things that you actually love, and then from that point on just kind of like narrow it down. I feel like college is a really great way, especially at center, with what Roxana was saying. It's a great way to like boost at center. It's a great way to get so many leadership opportunities on your resume, but it's also a great way. It's also a great way to kind of figure out where you want your post grad life to land and to be. And so it never hurts to just like take that chance and ask for help and also narrow it down when you feel like you see fit. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And it's also awesome to know that a lot of, or the majority of the clubs are student led and student driven. So if you don't see anything on campus that you'd like to be represented, you can start your own club, which is pretty awesome in and of itself. So McKenna and Cam, you guys are student athletes or former student athletes. So can you describe what being a student athlete is on campus? Like what's a typical day, and describe even the transition going from high school to college athletics?
I guess I'll start on that one then. So I did play football my first year. It's really time intensive. It's definitely a step up from high school ball. My senior year, I did play in Georgia, and it's pretty comparable to that in terms of the workload. But it's as soon as 4 o'clock ends, classes are over. You're in practice for the next 3 hours. Common hour is typically held with meetings, position meetings, team meetings. It's time intensive. It really is. But once your season's over, it gets a lot more laid back. You start having just more bonding, more just camaraderie type thing. We have banquets. I think the banquet for football was yesterday. Um, we had a position like a cookout basically. It was more like a dine-in. But we went over our coach's house, had more of just like a bonding experience outside of, being on the field every day. My roommate's baseball, same thing, time intensive. It was baseball season this spring. They're gone half the time. Even with, being off campus, if you do have, road games, professors are pretty lenient in terms of, helping you out. If if you're not going to have connection going down to Arkansas, they understand that you'll need an extra couple of hours to get some connection to turn a paper, or now that we're on Zoom right now, thankfully going away from that, if you needed a quiz or a test, they're pretty understanding, especially certain professors. Dr. Heath, the man, he's the most lenient when it comes to athletics.
Yeah, going off that, I would agree. My day to day does look like I get out of class. I try to do some homework because normally I try not to get that 4 o'clock class. And I go straight there, and then pretty much we go to dinner afterwards. Yeah, meetings, when we're in season, I'm pretty much on the road a lot. I just ended my season 2 weekends ago, which seems crazy. I already miss it. But when you come in as an athlete, I think you have to learn really quickly about how to manage your time well. This is my third season, and I would say that I actually like being in season more than out of season because my time is structured so much. But you really have to put in the time to commit to your schoolwork and your homework and communicating with your professors about what you need. Phoenix mentioned earlier, center students are very good at like setting their expectations high and being really independent. But when it comes to asking for help, we kind of have to learn how to do that once we get on campus. And so that was something that I learned to say like, hey, I will be on the road this weekend. I might need this or something like that. And so, yeah, just being an athlete, you kind of have to orient your schedule very differently. And that's the same if you're involved in a lot of clubs or something like that. You're just allocating your time, you're learning, and just structuring like your life around the things that you need to get done. And so, yeah, you get used to it. It gets easier. Freshman year, it's obviously like you're diving into much more kind of like workload, but you're also diving into this college sport. And like once you get the hang of it, you'll be fine. You're in the same boat as a lot of other people on campus as well.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. And it definitely helps that you're playing on teams where everyone's appreciative of the sport at hand. And I think that comes to show just like there's a lot of great competition in Division III sports. Don't knock on D3 sports. There's a lot of great people out there. So I know we're getting tight on time. So I have one more question to ask these wonderful panelists so they can continue on their Saturday. It's a really tough one. You don't have to add on any explanation to any of your choices, but what is one word that describes center? So let you sit on it for a bit, but I'm gonna put Cam on the spot. Just one word, no explanation.
Inclusive.
Love it. Phoenix?
I'm sorry, I have multiple words to say. I want to shout out Adriana and Lauren's Flameside podcast because they asked this question. And I said dynamic, but I'm going to change it to reflective reflective.
Renee,
I think I have to say compassionate.
Roxana,
Driving.
I love it. And last but not least, our rising senior McKenna.
Roxana just took mine, so I'm gonna go with close.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate you all sharing your center experience with us today. I hope you guys continue to thrive, as Roxana said, and keep on shining too. It's great seeing your smiling faces as you're talking about center and your experience as well. So thank you all for joining us today. And I am going to turn it to our lovely Associate Dean, Pam Boffman, to close us out.
Thank you, Clay, and thank you to our students. It's always such a treat to hear from them. Well, it's been a glorious day here in Danville, and I hope it is where you are as well. Thank you for setting some time aside to learn more about Center College. It has been a complex year, but we feel confident that our community is stronger by virtue of sharing in these trials and tribulations together. We are accelerating out of the pandemic, positioning our students for meaningful lives of learning, leadership, and service. And recently, I was helping some campus colleagues with a hiring search, and one committee member asked a candidate, "What is your purpose? What is your why?" The students you just heard from, they are our purpose and they are our why. Our students are moving the world forward from center out. Can you envision doing the same? There's so much to celebrate, and we look forward to future opportunities to connect with you and learn more about your college ambitions, interests, achievements, and aspirations. But before we conclude, I would like to thank Karina for organizing today's program and our students and staff members for their participation. I'd also like to thank our interpreter. Thank you to our guest for joining us again. Good luck for the remainder of the term. Have a great summer and come see us.